Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts episode 377. This is the one where we answer only BB's questions. We're not going to answer anyone. No, just kidding. Going to answer all of your questions today. BB, just kidding. Love you. Appreciate all the questions you asked. You asked some good ones. We're going to get to your questions and everyone else's today, but first want to say hi to the guys and make a couple of quick announcements. So I'll start up top, or at least up top for me, with Chris. How you doing today, man?
Doing good. Quite a busy day here. Took a sneak peek into Bradley's SOP that he shared in the mastermind, and yeah, I think I got some work to do.
Nice. Yeah, the full GBP SOP. I like that. It's got a nice, when you say it, it's a nice little rhyme. I was like typing, I'm like GBP SOP. Like, all right. So yeah, that is some good stuff. We're gonna have some emails going out about that, but I'm glad you brought that up because I think Bradley, you might want to mention a little bit about that today.
Yeah, it's not complete, but it's complete to, well, I don't know.
Version, let's call it version 1.
Yeah, it's release 1.0.
Yeah.
That's the official name. But yeah, it's good. I'm still waiting on my tier 1 assets to be delivered, and once they are, then I'll go back and complete the training for that. And then as soon as that's done, then I'll work on adding the tier 1 link building module, and then there'll be a tier 2 link building module beyond that. So it's still a work in progress. It's still evolving, but it's a full-on process that is, can be used. And Chris said he's got some work to do, but actually the whole point of it, other than to go through it once to be familiar with it, is to be able to hand it off to a VA and have them do the work. That's the whole point. It's to alleviate the workload from the members in the mastermind from having to, again, a lot of people are going to want to go through it once, and so they get all the step-by-step for everything and they'll know it. And I encourage that. But after doing it one time, the whole point is that you can assign, all you need is a free account in Flowster, but you can bring a guest in, invite a guest as a VA, like a VA is, just invite them as a guest, and then you can assign a workflow. So a workflow is a copy of the template, but assigned to a specific, guest in this case, or team member, whatever. And then you can title it after the name of that particular location that they're going to be applying it to, and then they can go right on through it. And it's the training with all the resources available right in the doc, like in the process itself. And then there's a step-by-step checklist. So it's not just training. It's all there's been some confusion in the Facebook group, and not the mastermind, but the free Facebook group. And on YouTube comments, we see people are like, well, your checklist isn't really an SOP. No, it's right. You just said it's a checklist, it's not an SOP. That's been a checklist. And then we have training modules, which are separate. This is a full standard operating procedure. So it is training plus resources, plus step-by-step checklist, all built into one. And I'm very thorough with it. And the reason why, I know that sometimes SOPs are more condensed in the fact that it's just like, do this, 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 and this. But I like to do training while I'm explaining, like, not just what to do, but why we're doing it. And the reason I do that is because I found through years of outsourcing work and delegating work that when you educate your team members, your virtual assistants, your subordinates on not just what to do, but why they should be doing it, that they become much more valuable, right? They feel like they're contributing more, like, because you're helping to teach them, not just do this, but here's why we do this. And then that actually helps to, add, strengthen their skills to where they can, spot things that can be made more efficient or improve their process. Because when they start to understand why they're doing it, then they can start, and they're the ones that are going to be doing it, repetitively. Then they can oftentimes, since they understand it, they can look for ways to make the process even more efficient, if that makes sense. So, over the years, my processes have become more educational as opposed to just do this, you know what I mean? And that's because I feel like it empowers your subordinates to be able to contribute more, if that makes sense.
Definitely. Well, that is right. It's an overtime investment, right? Letting people know they feel more a part of the team, but also they're learning whether or not they realize it, right? They're going to absorb all that stuff over time and just become more valuable. It takes a little bit more upfront, right? You got to put a little bit more work into it, but sure pays off.
Agreed. It's
Cool.
Put a lot of work into it. Like I said, it's not entirely done, but it's a lot. It was a lot of work. I spent the entire week last week working on it. I put in 10 to 12 hours a day for 5 days, and it's got over 40 some videos in it, and it's got a lot. And like I said, it's going to continue to evolve. And as My goal is over time is to not just the Google business process, but some of the more advanced SEO techniques and link building techniques that I've been developing over the last few months to start working those into there as well. So it will become like a full-on business plan, essentially.
Writing something on the page. So I'll put the link down to the mastermind. That is just one small piece of the mastermind, but definitely a really cool recent update. The GBP SOP, man, I'm just love saying that. But Bradley, we should back up a second. How you doing today?
Good, super busy. I just was setting up this really cool system in high level called Go High Level, or GHL, Smart Reviews. It's a snapshot that was built by Jason something or another. Forgive me for not knowing his last name off the top of my head, but I've been prospecting for tree contractors for over a year now since I started my directory, which, by the way, we start the directory build with Bradley group next Thursday, which that's been going on for months, but we're going specifically after targeting a directory site build. So I'm going to rebuild my treecarehq.com directory with all those other members using a completely new directory plugin and framework by WPGO directory. And so we're going to start that next week. And my goal is to have that done in 3 sessions. So that's every 2 weeks. So within 6 weeks, have the group that are going to join me doing that. How everybody should have their own directory site built by the end of that time. But anyway, to get back what I was saying, I've been, prospecting with the directory for over a year now, and it's been the most successful prospecting method I've ever used, hands down. But my lead in, my front end offer has been Google Business SEO, right? So I go in, and so my pitch is like, hey, basically I show them a GeoGrid of their own Google Business, a local search grid. And I show that they're not performing well for the most part. Sometimes I'll still do a video email even when they are performing well. But most of the time, the video emails have been like, hey, welcome to the directory. Here's your page. If you see anything you want changed, let me know. By the way, I ran a local search grid report to show you how your Google Business presence is performing or not performing. And here's what I found. And I review that in the video, and then I go into a pitch and I show them results of, other GeoGrids and for other contractors and what I can do and time frame and everything else. That's the whole pitch. Video emails. It's been working well, but my front end offer is like, minimum's $850 a month. And then if with some different add-ons and things like that, my average client's about $1,000 a month. And so, it's hard to get people to jump on that offer. Some people, they see the value, and I picked up several clients over the last year from that. But it's still more than people, more to bite off than a lot of people want to, you know what I mean? So anyway, one of my other mastermind members, Harry, who's been real active in the groups, we met, and he basically told me his business plan, which was to go on the front end with review building and reputation marketing services. And I'd always thought about doing that, but I never really put it to practice. Well, I came across a great snapshot called GHL Smart Reviews by this guy, Jason. It's $597 one-time fee. And so I picked it up about 2 weeks ago, and I just started implementing it today for one of my contractor clients in Florida, my tree contractor clients in Florida. And I'm going to try to implement it again with one of my lead gen assets so that I can demonstrate it tomorrow in the mastermind webinar. But it's super slick. And so I'm rethinking because it's not only just a reputation building funnel and system, but it also is a referral marketing system that's built into it if you choose to use that part of it too. And I could see that as being great because, it incentivizes customers to, to share their review and experience. And that generates referrals from their, sphere of influence, Facebook friends and family and stuff like that, which could be great for the customer, right? My client could be great because it's just additional work. Word of mouth marketing is always, one of the best types. Referral marketing is always one of the best ways to get new clients, right? Or customers in the case of a tree service contractor. So anyways, very slick system. And I was setting that up today. And I'm thinking about reworking my entire front end pitch to doing that because I can offer that at $100 a month. That's a no brainer. And sell review reputation building and marketing, reputation building and marketing and for $100 a month. And that would be a great foot in the door. It's much easier to get a yes on that. And then once I get somebody in the door, then I can always upsell them to the Google Business SEO services. So I'm really anxious to get this new directory built so that I can start prospecting again, using that as the front end service and see if I can get my conversion rates up.
Nice.
So anyway,
Nice. Well, no, I mean, I was just going to say, hey, if you want to dive into that with Bradley, join the mastermind, mastermind.semanticmastery.com. I mean, geez, we've covered the GBP SOP, the directory site group. There's a ton going on in there.
it sure is.
Yeah, busy. There was one more thing I wanted to touch on. That's right. We unfortunately can't make this event, but we recommend that you guys check it out. David Hood, his SEO by the Sea. I believe that's coming up in about 2 short weeks, but I believe there's still a few spots. So he just posted in our Facebook group. I'm going to pop the link on the page. If you're not watching this live, what you want to do is head over to semanticmastery.com/HD questions or /HDHO and grab the link. Check this out. Definitely an event worth checking out and going to if you can. I would love to go be warm by the sea and find out about this stuff, but hopefully next year I can make it to this. So I'm just going to pop the link on there. Go check that out. Yeah,
real quick, I just want to mention that, you know, David's been a mastermind member for a while. We've known Dave for several years now, and but he's a great guy. And Brock Eisner is going to be there as a speaker, and Brock's got some really awesome stuff going on right now. We'll have more to share about that in the coming weeks. But I got kind of a special invitation to be on the back end of something that he's doing, and it's impressive. So I'm really anxious to share some of that with at least our mastermind members when it's ready. But you know, so Brock's going to be there. David's there. There's some other people. It's a lot about Google Business SEO, map stuff. So anybody, which most of you guys here are into that, go check out David's event.
Awesome. All right, guys, let's get into it. I see some more questions popping on the page. So yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, let's do it. I'm sitting today instead of standing. It's because I didn't have time to get my desk converted into the standing.
just a little bit more relaxed today.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see. Who's the first question? I think I'm not sure. If we didn't answer the Marcus's question, we could do that, or maybe if you answer that, we can start with Martin B. But Marcus or Martin B there.
So starting here, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good one. All right. So Marcus was asking from, I think this was from last week, but he says, can we simply copy the exact same HTML file from our S3 bucket and upload into gcloud and Azure, or do you suggest making slight modifications for each so that are a little bit unique? So he's talking about all are linking together. So he's talking about for like cloud hosted pages and cloud stacking. I recommend that you vary the content. In fact, I don't even like to, like, for some of the stuff that I'm doing, I mean, you could probably get away with just, you know, rephrasing or spinning. I don't like to spin because there's rephrasing tools that do a better job. Although Word AI is pretty good now. Word AI is pretty good for that. Anyway, I like to use, so if think about silo structure, right? If you're doing a traditional silo on a website, then you're going to have your top level keyword at the top, and then you're going to have supporting keywords as supporting posts, right? A traditional silo. Okay. So think about it like that. If you're going to, that's the way I like to think about cloud stacking pages, is to, you know, whatever my top keyword is, that's going to be the top of the stack. And then I'm going to stack other pages, cloud pages that are targeting the supporting keywords, right? And the content for those pages are going to be optimized for the supporting keywords, right? So each one of them is targeting a specific supporting keyword and then variations of that supporting keyword, so that you're basically making a silo from different properties, right? And you can wheel them together, right? So you can link, you know, create a link wheel from it. Jesper's training, that's, you know, he does that, and he's got a new service out now that where he's actually doing cloud stacking. You can buy done for you cloud stack gigs. I'm buying some of those from him. So, you know, I know he's got some good stuff going on. So, but you know, I prefer, if I'm doing it myself or in-house, I like to do it kind of like a silo structure. In other words, the top level page is going to have my primary keyword. It's going to be the content on that page is going to be optimized for that. And then, you know, I might have 3 or 4 other supporting pages, and I'm going to create kind of like a link wheel, like a, you know, a circle out of them where it's a closed loop, right? And each one of the separate pages are going to have a different supporting keyword, and the content on that's going to be optimized for that. So for example, in my case, like tree service would be the top keyword, tree service plus location usually. And then I would have tree removal plus location page, and then a tree trimming plus location page, and then another one for like stump tree stump removal, stump grinding and stump grinding and removal. And then there's sometimes we'll use another keyword, land clearing, which is another type of service that most tree contractors provide. So all in all, I would end up having the main keyword and then 4 supporting keywords. So it could be a total of 5 pages, if that makes sense. I know that you can get away with just doing rephrase content on each of the additional pages, and that's fine. In fact, some of the gigs that I've been using from Legit for cloud stacking, like iWeb SEO, he's got a good one that you can get like 4 authority cloud stack pages. He uses pretty much the same content on each page, and they'll all index. You have to run them through an indexer, and it's interesting because the Google Cloud Storage pages, they take the longest to index, which I find very interesting. But some of the other ones, like the Alibaba page and Amazon S3, and then there's a Microsoft page, those all tend to index fairly quickly. But the Google index page typically takes a little longer to index, which I just find that odd because it's Google. You know what I mean? But anyway, I recommend that you at least modify the content, like spin it or better yet, rephrase it. But if from what I'm testing with, I find if you use unique content and use it similarly like a silo structure, that it works even better. Okay. Good question. Martin says, is there much value in Nextdoor as a platform as our tier 1 link building? I don't know. I've not tested that. Thought about it, but that's one of those things on the wish list that is not top priority. I'd say test it, Martin. If you have the time and the desire, try it, test it and see. I think it could be valuable, right? It's real local. So if you do not have any newer tier 1 assets you have found to be effective aside, if not, if not, do you have any newer tier 1 assets you have found to be effective aside from the regular syndication properties and cloud hosts? Well, I mean, still the normal syndication network properties are Web 2s. Like, even if you're not syndicating much anymore, like, I'm not doing as much of that, but I'm still, creating properties on different Web 2 networks and social profiles and that sort of stuff. And all that, again, you're adding nodes to the knowledge graph for the entity, right? So it's important to do that, brand it, obviously, and then interlink where possible. There's some really good gigs for that. Like I said, Marketer Center has one. One of our very own, Shripad from Semantic Mastery Mastermind, he's got citationbuilderpro.com. He's got some really good gigs over there now, some done-for-you services, like he's got a Web 2.0 blog building service at $79. You get 80 sites, and the interlinks where appropriate, or where possible, does NAP, name, address, phone number. So those are like social citations or non-traditional citations. Those are all great. Those are great types of services to use. In fact, that's what I demoed in the Google Business Profile SOP that I just released to the mastermind last Friday. Was I walked through ordering from his service. So all of those are good. I have some favorites that I like to use, which you guys, anybody has access to the Google Business Process checklist, right? The full SOP is only in the mastermind, but the checklist you can get, just click the link at the top of the Hump Day Hangouts page. And, over there, I talk about some of, the profiles that I like. Tumblr, Blogger, WordPress, I still like to use those. Blogger, I don't recommend syndicating the Blogger because it'll compete with the original. And I don't like to do that. It kind of cannibalizes the original. But Blogger is still a good site, in my opinion, for posting content. And then, it's a Google property. In fact, some of the kind of mirroring stuff that I'm doing and trying to test when I have time, includes Blogger now as one of the mirrored properties. So whatever, content, like, for example, if you had gotten access to the content mirroring method that we gave away for free from Black Friday to Cyber Monday, and if you're in the mastermind, you can get that at any time. But we had a whole content mirroring, process. And I like to include Blogger in that now as just an additional property. So those are all good. Strikingly is a good one. Yola site, another one, company.site, which is fantastic. That's like eswid.com, which is like an e-commerce platform, but you can register blogs on there. And they're really customizable. They make really nice looking sites, and they rank well. And that you get a dot, whatever you want as your username, .company.site. So it, resembles kind of the .business.site for Google Business Profiles. So those are all good. I don't know. Cloud hosted pages, those are my favorite right now. And also rebuilding aged domains or expired domains. That's a big part of what I'm doing right now. I've gotten pretty good at being able to find expired domains with the appropriate or the perfect topical trust flow categories for whatever project I need them for. And so I'm like really targeted and hunting out expired domains right now and rebuilding those with just HTML sites on cloud hosting. And those tend to work really, really well too, especially when you start using, I'm using kind of a hybrid right now of what Jesper's been teaching with cloud stacking, but I'm doing that with rebuilt expired domains that have the perfect, appropriate topical trust flow category. And so I just go hunt those down for a specific project and I'll stack 4 or 5 of those in a fashion like exactly what I just mentioned with using kind of Jesper's methodology, but they're rebuilt domains, but with the appropriate topical trust flow category that I need. And that tends to really work well. So again, those are some of my favorite kind of tier 1 assets. And don't forget, like, you know, I haven't been mentioning this a lot because it's still just it's a standard part of the standard operating procedure, but the Google sites, guys, that's huge. Like use that, you know, use the Google sites and power those up with links. I mean, that's the whole point. I'm not using mass spam. Somebody took what I said and twisted it and shared it in one of the other groups again. That's typically what happens anyways. But I said what I know. I have not been finding that they using mass bulk spam works anymore in my testing. I'm not saying you can't get results from that. That's not what I said. People took my words and twisted it and went to other groups and said, well, Bradley said this, and that's not what I said. What I said was in my testing, I have not been finding bulk spam links to work like they used to. And so because of that, I have switched to using different types of links. And so the Google the Google site, sites.google.com, is still very, very, very powerful and integral part of what I do. There's no question. I haven't been talking much about it just because it's just been a standard part of my procedure for years now. It's just a given for me. And maybe I should be more clear about that when I talk about this. But using the Google site as a primary asset, guys, you should be using that and build links to it. Whether you want to use bulk spam, that's your choice, or use more targeted links with higher power. In my opinion, I tend to use stuff that has more trust flow and specifically topical trust flow in the category that I need it to be in. And that's where I find it to move, have the most effect and the quickest effect. So that's what I'm doing. So.
Well, not so fast. If people would have a look at Syndication Academy, I think we haven't mentioned that. We go through like quite a bunch of like really good and powerful tier 1 backlinking and how to build them up, how to set them up properly and link them all together and actually use them in a way that you have almost no work with them, right? So like, I'm really a big fan of that still.
Ooh, that's good. And I think there was an update today, wasn't there?
I think
so. Yes, there was. Yeah. And this was the first week that I did not ask Essie if she needed me before she did it. So hopefully it went well.
That's great. Yeah, we got Essie. In case people don't know, we have Syndication Academy. You can find that at syndication.academy. But that's where, a lot of this could be found, these additional sites. And we have a team member fully dedicated to going out and finding these. Say that again.
I said she's great.
Oh, yeah. And then, not only going out and finding these, but then presenting them and then adding them for the training. So highly recommend checking out Syndication Academy.
Yeah, it's inexpensive. By the way, if you're a mastermind member, you get that included. And I don't know if all mastermind members know that, or if those of you that aren't in the mastermind don't know that. But it's if you just want Syndication Academy, it's very inexpensive. But every 2 weeks, Essie, she's great. She does a great job at explaining what she does. It goes out and hunts down other Web 2.0 assets, social profiles and things like that can and it goes in and sets them up in the webinars every 2 weeks. So, and she'll do 2-3 properties every single 2 weeks, and she'll go in and show how to set them up, how to optimize them, how to do interlinking. So I mean, it's super powerful. I've said this last few Hump Day Hangouts, but that's stuff that you should have a VA doing. Like if you're like I said, if you're in the mastermind, you get Syndication Academy anyways, plug your VA into that training. Let them go watch the webinars every 2 weeks, or, watch them from the archives, and then implement what SE teaches as far as because again, that's adding nodes to the knowledge graph for that entity. And you just continually build that out, and you do that over time. And again, that's not something that any of you guys should be doing unless you're curious and you just, have the desire to do so. It's stuff you can hire virtual assistants to do. Very inexpensive. They've got the training because SE provides step-by-step training on how to do that. And all they got to do is follow that. And over time, like I said, you continually add nodes to that knowledge graph, and you reach a tipping point, especially for local. That's pretty much all I do. But you reach it, like at some point, that brand, that entity will reach a tipping point where it just, boom, it just takes over the top spot, and it's almost unmovable at that point. And I've seen that time and time again, but it takes work. It's just consistently adding nodes to that knowledge graph, right? Expanding the entity footprint is another way to think about it. And Syndication Academy is great for that. So hopefully that was helpful. Jackson says, in a recent webinar with Jesper, I recall him. He mentioned a Google platform he was using, like a Web 2.0, but wasn't able to find it anywhere. Can you please share the name and the link? I think you're talking about cloud storage. It's Google Cloud Storage. It's just like Amazon S3. I mean, it's almost identical. Like even the dashboard, I mean, different coloring and stuff, but the dashboard, and you set up buckets and you have to set permissions and all that kind of stuff. Very much like Amazon S3. So maybe that's what you're talking about. I think that's what you're talking about. Gasper says, hey, SM, do links to our money site from within iframes have much SEO values? For example, powered by styled links within the iframe code linking to a money site. Well, links. Yeah. I mean, well, I'm not sure I'm understanding the way that, like, specifically what you're asking about. Iframes are very powerful because it's almost like a bi-directional link. It's not really, but it's very similar to that. Not like a reciprocal link, but power flows back both ways in an iframe, right? So iframing a site into another site is like a backlink. It's an empty or frame anchor. In Majestic, which is the tool that I use for backlink analysis, that's what it's labeled as, is an empty anchor, or a frame anchor, actually. So I have a specific top anchor text category that I call empty/frame anchors. And that consists of image anchors or image links that do not contain alt text, redirect URLs, and iframes. Those are all fall into the empty/frame anchor category, anchor text category or classification. And so those are very powerful. And like I said, it's almost like a bi-directional link. So, that's why we do iframe stacking or an entity loop, right? An iframe loop. There's a number of terms like on the Amazon S3 page, which is a cloud hosted page, right? Before people started calling it cloud stacking and everything. Back in 2019, we started, the ID page and just stacking iframes into a HTML hosted, an HTML page hosted on Amazon S3, which is a cloud hosted page. And it was very, very powerful. And now, it's become a pretty big thing, like not that specifically, but cloud hosted pages. And it's great. They work fantastically well. But that's why, right? Because you can, like, for example, by putting an iframes into a cloud hosted page, building links to that page, you're siphoning some authority from the high domain authority, the high authority metrics of the cloud hosted domains themselves, right? So Amazon S3, again, Google Cloud Storage, Microsoft Azure, that one ranks really well. I don't know why it ranks so well, but it does. Alibaba, there's a bunch of them out there, right? So those are you siphon some authority just from having embedded iframed properties into those high authority domain pages. Okay. But then building links to them, again, it's almost like bi-directional. It's very, very powerful. So if you can clarify that, I'll try to provide you with a better answer. But iframes are very, very powerful if you use them. And that's precisely why we talk about doing like mirrored assets, where you iframe the original into the mirrored assets, right? The whole content mirroring method that I was talking about earlier is about using YouTube as well. We start with, content from either a traditional silo on a money site or a long form content page that has jump links or a table of contents up at the top, and then summarizing each one of the headings or blog posts within a supporting blog post within a silo, summarizing those and then creating Google YouTube videos from those, and then creating Google business posts from those, and then creating mirrored pages on the G site from that. And that's where I was talking about. I like to insert Blogger now in between the Google business posts and G site, right? So that's like a whole nother stack of mirrored properties on another Google domain, Blogger, right? And then you iframe those in each one of those properties. So for example, like you take the the YouTube video and the Google business post, and you iframe those into a Blogger page or post, however you want to do it. And then now you've got a Blogger page that has those two iframes, a Google business post iframe and a YouTube iframe, right? So it's the same content, but it's just iframed. Now you take the blogger page and you iframe that into the Google site, mirrored pages, right? Same structure, but it's now mirrored into and iframed into the Google site. And so now you've got the Google site with the blogger iframe, and in the blogger iframe, you got the G site post and the YouTube video. And then you can take it out further than that if you want, but it's very powerful. And then you just hammer the Google business, the G site with links, and it flows through all those iframes, through all those assets, ultimately down to the money site. And your money site stays 100% clean. Like there's no trace of those links anywhere even close to the money site, but all that link juice is flowing through those iframes down to the money site. It's very, very powerful. Time consuming to set up, which again is why I put it in an SOP format so that you can hire a VA to do it. So it's time consuming to set it up, but it works. It works great. So SEO Sammy says, how can we get a .gov and .edu links? Do these pass a lot of power? If so, what is the best way to get them? I don't know about .gov so much, but .edu links, there's a really good provider on Legit named Brady Bear. If you go to Legit and just legiit.com and you just search for Brady Bear as one of the users, she's a provider that has these edu guest posts that you can get guest posts. She'll handle the content and everything, but on .edu domains and some really high authority domains. So I've used those. Those are good. I like to use those as a matter of fact for link building stuff as tier 1 links, because I don't do a lot of that, but it's good to get some, an occasional edu link. I don't know about .gov. I don't know what to tell you about that. But edu links, yeah, you can get Brady Bear. She's got a good edu guest post service over there. She's good. So check that out. BB says, hey guys, what's up, BB? He says, how to differentiate content between pages of the same service/services in different locations. Long form content did not do the cut because I saw with my own eyes that a page targeted for 2 locations ranked well on one location and the other didn't. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Page targeted for 2 locations. Yeah, see, I don't like to optimize it one page, same topic, 2 different locations, because Google doesn't really know what to do with that. I try to optimize a page for topic plus location. And then if I'm going to target another location, then I'm going to create a separate page with that content optimized for that location. It can be the same topic, but I've talked about this many times, guys. I prefer to use more, unique content on both of those pages. I know so many people have been able to get results basically taking the same kind of content that's optimized for one location and just swap out all the location data on the next and still get results. And that may be so. Mike Martin was the one that kind of explained it to me in a way as to why maybe it's not necessary to create unique content. But my point is, if you're doing hundreds of pages, then yeah, I get it. And magic page stuff, mass page type stuff, maybe it's best to just swap out location data. But if you're just doing a couple of them, maybe like in your question as an example, right? Just use a tool like Quillbot or Page Rewriter and take the content that, swap out the location tags with whatever, the location is that you're going to be targeting, but rephrase the content, right? So that it's unique, right? Somewhat unique anyways. It's different. It's not the exact duplicate. Again, I know a lot of people are getting results with the exact duplicate content. And when I say duplicate, that's not the way that you all are thinking. Taking the same content and just swapping out the location information, the location tags essentially, and then posting it. A lot of people still getting results like that. I've always tried to use unique content, but now with the rephrasing tools, it makes it so easy, right? Because you can just take the existing page that you said one of them ranked and the other one didn't. Well, take the page that ranked, optimize it for that one location, and then take that same page, put it through a rephrasing tool, and then optimize it for that, that second location and publish it. And you should be able to get similar results. There's a lot of other variables that we're not talking about, but at least on the on page, the content side of things, that's a pretty easy way to do it. So can you target a single page of a single service for an entire state? Yeah, I suppose you could. The thing is the reason why you typically target on a city level more so than a county level or a state level is because that's how most people search, right? When people are searching for keywords or products or services with local intent, they typically add a location modifier as a city or near me, right? And that's because Google suggests near me, right? That especially on mobile devices, like you start to type on the search bar and Google suggests the near me search phrase if it thinks you have it's a search with local intent, right? So near me is a location modifier. Most location modifiers are either going to be cities or near me, right? So I mean, most people don't search on a county level like tree service plus county name. Most of the time it does happen, but it's, much more volume, search volume on a city level. And there's not a whole lot of state searches that I mean, again, there might be certain industries or certain products or services where it's more appropriate and there's more search volume on with a state modifier. But the reason why we typically optimize on a city level is because that's where the most search volume is. That's how most people search. So, but yeah, could you do it? Sure, you could. You could optimize for a state, and then you could have like, a mention of all the counties, for example. I wouldn't do counties and cities because then you'd have like this huge block of text, but you could, I mean, there's ways to do that, right? To add, to target a page on a state level, but have mentions on, more narrow or specific geographies within that state. There's ways to do that. Yeah. So, I mean, shit, you could put a map on there that has, and in a table that has like counties and cities, in an embedded table, for example. That'd be a good way to do it. It's interesting. Some of my WordPress sites, for lead gen for tree service stuff, I put a table using WP Easy Table, which is a plugin. But I put tables at the bottom of the, county pages, which are, kind of like top level category pages. And then I have cities underneath that. And so on the county pages, which again, not a lot of search volume comes from, tree service or tree removal plus county, but there is some. So okay, sometimes I will create those pages and I'll put a table at the bottom that has all the different, localities within that county. And it's interesting to see, but Google pulls that as like rich snippet information into the SERP. So in the search engine results pages, there will be the web URL for the search term plus county name, but then like underneath that, it's almost like a site links. If you guys are, know what I'm talking about with site links, it's almost like that. It'll pull in from the table all the different cities for that county. It's interesting. It takes up a big chunk of space on the search results page, which is really interesting. And that wasn't structured data. It was just putting a table in. Google's parsing that out and actually displaying that in the search results. And it's not even marked up with structured data. That's what I found really interesting. It was just the formatting within a table. Google likes bullet. That's why it's in the Google Business Process Checklist too. I talk about always on your website, your .business.site, the Google Business website, they always list your products and services in bulleted format, and then the service areas as well, the locations that the business serves in bulleted format, because Google loves that kind of content. And like I said, just putting a table on county pages and then listing all the localities, towns, cities, census designated places, that sort of thing. And just go to Wikipedia and look that up. Like go to Wikipedia, put the county name in. You can do it on a state level too. And then there will be in the table of contents on Wikipedia for that county, well, you can click on to communities, cities and stuff like that. It'll give you cities, incorporated cities, census designated places, towns, unincorporated communities, all that. And that's all really good geo data that you can add into your pages. And if you put it in a table format, that's what I'm saying. It's very interesting that pops a rich snippet when it's not even marked up with, schema. So it's very interesting how Google, parses that out, loves that kind of data. So I don't know, it works. All right. Can you target a single page? Yeah, we already answered that. Okay. So the third question is, what is the best place you should rank in order to get the most leads? Website positions, map pack. Well, for me, it's always been maps pack, hands down. Even above paid ads, like even on projects where I have both paid ads and maps going, I've always gotten way more leads from the maps pack than anywhere else, period. I mean, it's not even close too. With tree service contractors, about 70% of all leads that I've generated in 10 years now of doing that have been from the maps pack. Only about maybe 10 to 15%. Not even now. I'd say 5 to 10% have come from ads. Seriously. And then the rest of them come from organic. But you really got to be at the top in organic anymore, because you have to scroll. Like organic is really below the fold now because of ads and maps. You have to scroll below the fold to even get to organic. So it's usually been like I'd say 70% ish from maps and probably 5 to 10% from ads when I'm running ads. And then the rest, remaining is from organic. So, and that's my experience in that industry. It could vary by industry. I'm sure it does. But from my experience, one thing is for a long time, there wasn't much of an issue, but the Google guaranteed services, which are those guaranteed ads now at the carousel right at the top, even above like traditional Google ads or search ads. That wasn't really taking a bite out of lead gen for me for a long time. And more recently it has. It started to see a little bit more of a decline in overall leads in the locations that have Google guarantee ads at the top. They're getting more clicks now, more leads. So I'm not saying they're getting more leads than the maps. I'm saying they've started to take a bite out of the number of leads generated, because not all areas have that, but the ones that do, I've noticed a slight decline in overall leads from those areas, and I can only attribute it to those Google guaranteed ads. So anyway, moving on. Something I'm working on though is in just, being able to rank a YouTube video or at least a video thumbnail. It doesn't have to be a YouTube video. It could be a page that has a video on it with video object schema included on the page. You can rank a video thumbnail from a web page, right? It doesn't have to be YouTube. And so I'm testing with that. And I just did it for a client yesterday. It's crazy. It's not a super competitive keyword, but it's a local keyword for a roofing contractor. And I popped a video thumbnail directly under the maps pack in the -- position. In fact, I pushed his organic ranking, which I had in #1 for that keyword below the video. But I got it to work yesterday. The day that I published it too, it was amazing. So I'm trying to make that more of a process that can be repeated for even, higher competitive stuff. That's kind of what I'm working on in the background now to overcome the problem with in the US not being able to get Google business profiles verified very easily anymore with the whole video verification nonsense that's going on. I'm trying to develop a repeatable process that we can pop video thumbnails, not necessarily YouTube videos, because in some local terms, it's so hard to pop a video or to keep it on page 1, but to use schema and other properties, mainly Google properties and some cloud hosting stuff, but using advanced, schema to get the video thumbnail. So YouTube is a component of it because it starts with the YouTube video, but then it's all the other work and the other assets that we build around it. And then with the schema, we can get those assets to rank with the video thumbnail showing. And I like that because even though like for this one that I just did yesterday for a roofing client of mine, the video thumbnail is right below the maps and it's big and it's pretty, right? It draws the eyes to it. So it's kind of, it can pull some leads away from the maps pack just because it's like a shiny object below the maps, right? So that's kind of something that I want to do. And then, with enough effort, I want to see if I can get it to pop above the maps pack. That's probably only going to be for lower competition keywords, but I think it's possible. So I'm working on it. If and when I can figure it out to where it's repeatable and I can do that consistently, then I'm certainly going to do some training about that in the mastermind for sure. So that's kind of a goal of mine this year. Okay, let's keep moving. Is there a link to the smart reviews? Just go. Oh shit. You know what? Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to pause my screen for a minute. I think I can find it. I have to go into Facebook to get it, but it's not a public URL, but I don't think the guy's going to mind. I swear I saved it somewhere though. Let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 minute. It's a really cool system. I like it a lot. If I can find it, if I can't find it in just 1 minute, guys, then I'll come back and post it on the page once we're done.
Just for everyone who wasn't aware of this, what is the smart reviews?
Go high level smart reviews. It's a snapshot and whole like funnel system and everything that is built by this guy. It's super powerful. Let me see if I can find. I like it a lot. It's really, really cool. It took me a day to get it set up because I'm kind of going through the training videos and everything else. But anyways, it's really cool. Like I said, I'm thinking about using that as my front end product now. We'll see. Let me see if I can find the link for that. Yeah, if I can't find it, I'll
And just pop it in the
Yeah, I'll
Facebook
post it on the
group or
page when
something.
I'm done, guys. I don't see it right off the top of my head. I saved it somewhere, but you know what? It might even be an SM short link. Adam, if you don't mind looking real
Yeah, I'll
quick,
take a look.
it would be one of the top URLs because I think I just pasted it a couple of. If I put it in there, I just did it within the last few days. So we'll try to find it for you, Aaron. If not, I'll tag your uncle on it. So Scott. Okay. All right. JK says, what are some ways to promote a real estate wholesaler business? Can I get GMB service area listings, or is that a heavily flagged or spam niche? No, that's a lot of people doing that. A lot of we got several mastermind members that's what they do. You know, real estate investing and stuff. So yeah, you can get GMBs for that. I mean, you got a video verified now, so at least I think you do. I don't know about that particular industry, but most industries in the U.S. now it's rolling out, or many of them. I don't know about most, but many of them it's rolling out. So yeah, I mean, you can do that. It's a good way to do it. Just remember, proximity's gotten a little bit tighter. So you know, Google Business Profiles don't cover as broad an area as they used to. It's tighter. There's things you can do to push that still, but you know, it's harder. So I encourage you to also try some of the other methods that I just talked about, some organic stuff. YouTube's a good source for that too, because you can create videos that in target by people that are searching. You know, you can create custom segments, but there is a in-market real estate, an in-market segment for real estate, people looking to buy homes, people looking to sell homes. Seriously. So those are predefined audiences. So YouTube marketing or ads would be really good for that, because you can, you know, very inexpensively set up campaigns and target by geography, by specific, you know, zip codes, cities, counties, states, whatever you want. And then use an in-market segment, people looking to sell houses. That's a great one. You could also create custom segments from search terms that people that are distressed sellers, which I know as wholesalers, that's what you're looking for, right? Distressed sellers. So people that are like, sell house fast, you know, buy my house, we buy houses near me, like those types of terms. You can create a big list of those types of terms and create a custom segment and then target those. And that means anybody, like, it takes a little while for that, for Google to create a custom, you know, a bucket of those members that would fit that custom segment that you define. But you could do that with those types of search terms and then set up an ad campaign. And after a few days, a couple of weeks, when Google creates that audience for you based upon the terms that you define, then you'll start getting, your ads will only show, and you know, to those people that have recently searched for those types of terms, which means it's highly relevant. So you know, that's a great way to do it. If you know, Google Business is great, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying there's other things that you can do to generate leads. I know, because I was flipping real estate or whole land for about 2 years. I haven't done that in about a year, but I was flipping land for 2 years, and that was one of the methods I used to generate leads, was YouTube ads. So did you find it, Adam?
Negative. Sorry, I had myself muted there. No, couldn't find it.
Okay. Well, I'll try to find it for you guys and I'll share it. I know I've shared it in several of the groups, so I just got to find it. In fact, we got a couple minutes. You guys want to talk about something while I try to hunt it down for a minute? Yeah, talk about something. Sing or something.
Hey everybody. I'm just gonna sing a little song. No, just kidding. Nope. Actually, I was going to ask a question. I know we got some people here. We got a lot of people who catch up on the replays afterwards. And I wanted to get some feedback from people over the years. We've had now well over 100 people attend Popu Live, and would love to get some feedback from our community about what they want to see in Popu Live 2022. So we were talking yesterday, getting the planning going in February for the event in September. And I think it's always good to touch base and ask people what they want to hear. We've already got a few things lined up. We know a few things we want to do, some guest speakers we want to have, but it's always good. If you guys have any feedback or things you'd like to see, let us know. And if you're not familiar with Popu Live, what that is our, geez, how many years in a row? Chris, I'm losing my mind.
Four? Five? This will be five, right?
I think 4.
That's good. I can't remember. So yeah, several years in a row. So it's our event, obviously centered a lot around SEO, but we try to cover a wide range of topics there to help people who are doing this, like, you know, agency owners, consultants, business owners, you know, solopreneurs, you know, anyone who can benefit from understanding how to better get and work with clients, how to get better results with SEO, how to sell. I know personally for me, a lot of fun is bringing in the guest speakers, just because it's something usually new or a different angle, and it can be a lot of fun. So I feel like bring the core of the experience and the conversation and the presentations, but then bringing in these guest speakers to really bring some additional value in some cool areas. So if you guys have topics you want covered, let us know. If there's certain things you'd like to see, let us know.
Yeah, I thought this year would make 5 years. I think it does, because we did 2 virtual when we did 2 live. So this year would be 5.
We did 2 virtual. Ah.
Yeah, we did two years of virtual and 2 years of live, in person.
That's right. So we did DC in person for the first year. And
Denver.
Then we did Denver, and then 2 years online. So yeah, this will be 5 years.
This will be 5 years. So time flies, guys.
Yeah,
I'm sure. So here it is. I'll drop the link on the page. I just created a short link for it. Are past POFU recordings available? Jim says yes, they are. Well, at least I think we sell the previous year for a period of time. I know you had a promo for that like last week or two, didn't we?
Yeah, we just did. And Jim, if you need access or want to check it out, you should be able to go to POFU Live and find the last one. If you're having trouble finding what you're looking for, just hit us up, send an email to support@semanticmastery.com. We'll get you straightened out.
Yeah. So this is it. I posted the link in the chat, guys. This is it. Like I said, it's a really slick system. This guy, Jason, who created it, it's got all the, anybody using high level, it's got the snapshot, the funnels built, all the automations built in workflows and in triggers and campaigns, which is kind of the older method. So it's really slick. It's you can do full on review gating. I don't particularly care to do that. There's, potentially some, depending on the state that you're in, sometimes that's a real no-no. So I just get rid of the review gating part of it. But it's really powerful. There's a bunch of screenshots on this page. This is not an affiliate link. This is just straight up. It's a good system, and it's one-time payment. So if you're already using high level, and all you need really is you need an agency account. But that's the $297 a month, which is what I'm on. I'm not on the high level pro. I was for a while, but I didn't need it. So which is the $500 a month level. I'm just on the agency level, so $297 a month. But you pay one time for this, and then it's unlimited as the number of locations that you can add. So there's, again, if you put 100 people on this, you're paying $3 per month essentially for the cost of high level. But you only pay this one time, and that's it, if that makes sense. And so again, I think I'm going to switch my prospecting strategy. I hired a cold caller from Ross Christofouli's Rent-A-Caller. I think it's go.rentacaller.com. Yes. I hired a Rent-A-Caller. Who's basically an appointment center. They're cold callers. And I've got, from my directory agency, my directory site and my whole system, my prospecting system, I've got like 350 leads that are warm leads in my pipeline that were waiting on me to send video emails to, which I just haven't gotten around to. So I said, well, instead of just letting those leads kind of rot, I'm going to have cold callers start calling those leads. So these are warm leads because of my directory prospecting. They've interacted with my outreach. My VAs have, optimized their pages on the directory site. And then they've gone into like a hold pattern waiting for me to send a video email, like I talked about at the top of this webinar or this Hump Day Hangout. So right now I'm focusing on building a couple of businesses for Semantic Mastery, our content business and a link building business. So I really can't focus as much on the prospecting side as I would like. So I just went ahead and hired a cold caller for a week. You have to do it a week at a time. It's like $95 a day. So I think it's $475 for the week. And you got to reserve it out. And that's what I did. I was just actually chatting with my account rep over there today because we're working on developing the script. And I reached out because originally I said, let's develop the script off of Google Business SEO and lead generation essentially. And then I reached back out because just today, because I've been working on this Go High Level thing, and I was just like, man, you know what? This is awesome. Like, and I was like, this is so much easier, I think, to get. And I won't know without testing, but this will be a good test because the caller that I rented for a week, the campaign starts on March 8th, and it's from March 8th to March 12th. So it gives me a month really to get really familiar with this Go High Level system. Like I said, I just set it up for a client today, and I'm going to set it up on a couple of my lead gen locations too. And then I'm going to, once I get more familiar with it, I'll implement it for some of my other clients. And once I get pretty comfortable with this, then I think this will probably become my front end offer, because I know, some of the people I talk to, they sell it at $200 a month. I don't care. My whole goal is just to get people in the door and then upsell them to Google business stuff, right? Or SEO, content marketing, YouTube ads, the kind of stuff that I enjoy doing. So this, for me, I'll sell it at $100 a month all day long. You know, and that's, I mean, it's hard for, it's so inexpensive. It's like, you know, it's a no brainer, right? So if I can get people in the door at $100 a month and then start building up the reviews, which actually have a huge effect on ranking right now for maps ranking. I noticed that we had a big snowstorm at the beginning of January here in Virginia, and my tree guys just got hammered with tree calls because there was a bunch of down trees all over the place. And we're still getting calls now for that, for people that are still just now getting their trees cleaned up in their yard from a month ago. No kidding. And so because of that, I've been using High Level for a lot of my lead gen stuff anyways. And so we got a lot of natural reviews because there's, again, the tree guys were cleaning up storm damage and, you know, fallen trees everywhere. And so, like, for example, one of my locations had dropped for whatever reason from in the 3-pack down to like position 5. But because all the tree guys have been so busy, like customers that needed tree services were calling, like, you know, the top 10 results. So they were clicking outside of the 3-pack to more maps, you know, show more results, and then calling because like everyone is so backed up, all the tree contractors are backed up. Anyway, we ended up getting, like, for one location in a matter of 10 days, we got like eight reviews, natural organic reviews from customers in one location. And it jumped from position 5 back to position 2. And it was just from reviews. No, nothing else had been done. It was, but over the course of like 10 days, it got like either 6 or 8 reviews, and that brought it right back up into the 3-pack. And so reviews are having a significant effect on ranking in maps, at least what I'm seeing. They're having more of an effect than they had in the past. I know you can still rank without reviews before everybody gets, you know, well, I can rank with that. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I'm seeing that reviews are having an effect on maps ranking. And so I thought this was a really cool kind of system because it's got, not only does it have the review stuff, but it also has the referral marketing, which again, I got to get a little bit more experience with this before I'm sold on that. But I mean, I'm sold on the idea, but here's like the referral system. And I think that's a great idea because, again, you know, what a better way to generate more clients for a business than referral marketing to your friends and family, right? Sphere of influence. So anyways, that's my pitch for these guys, just because I think it looks pretty cool. But $100 a month, man, I mean, that's what I'll do. And then I can upsell customers or clients that come in on that for Google Business SEO, YouTube ads, you know, whatever else. So anyway, okay. Where are we? Here we are. All right, that's it. I think we're good. Anything else, you guys?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I would say head to YouTube. I tell people this, I forgot at the beginning, usually head over to YouTube, you know, search Semantic Mastery, hit subscribe. Not only because we like having subscribers, but also that way you can get caught up. If you miss Hump Day Hangout, you'll get notified about that. If you have the notifications clicked, if you don't, that's fine. Do whatever you want to do. But also we chop up Hump Day Hangouts into little bite-sized clips. So each question is a little video. So that we think is helpful and a good way to stay up to date, or, you know, find information if you need one thing and you don't have time to watch the whole Hump Day Hangout replay.
Right on. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
See you next week.